Why are the lightsaber blades in Star Wars Rebels so dang thin? Hopefully I can answer this question here. We're going to be answering this question in two different ways. One, we're going to be talking about the design and a lot of the inspiration that Rebels has taken from. And the other way we're going to try and explain it is we're going to try and make it fit into continuity and see if the thin lightsaber blades really do make sense overall. Let's go ahead and talk about some of the design choices for Star Wars Rebels. A lot of the designs are based off of Ralph McQuarrie's original concept art for Star Wars. A lot of his art depicted the lightsabers as very thin weapons. We can see here that the Ralph McQuarrie concept lightsabers are actually a lot shorter and a lot more thin. The character of Zeb from Star Wars Rebels is actually taken directly from Ralph McQuarrie's concept art, and they actually made it into a real character. The creators of the show have not been shy about this design choice, since they constantly reference the thin lightsabers, saying that that's the original vision that Ralph McQuarrie had for the lightsabers when he first read George Lucas's script. Now let's go ahead and talk about the lightsabers in A New Hope, which honestly are depicted sometimes as fairly thin, almost as thin as the Star Wars Rebels lightsabers, but other times appear to be thick. Honestly, this one contains a really simple answer. It's simply that some of the effects of the time were not capable of creating consistent lightsaber blades. Especially if you watch the unaltered cut of the original Star Wars, sometimes the blades appear to be really thick, and other times, especially in the duel between Obi-Wan and Darth Vader on the first Death Star, they appear to be really thin at certain points. While on the other hand, when Luke initially activates Darth Vader's old lightsaber, which was once Anakin Skywalker's, it appears to be really thick, especially when he's training with the training droid. This of course improved a great deal as the trilogy continued. In Empire Strikes Back, we can see Luke Skywalker varies a little bit as far as the thickness of the blade goes, but Darth Vader seems to be really consistent throughout the entire duel. In Return of the Jedi is where they really nailed it. All of the blade seems to be really consistent all the way throughout the film. I'd quickly like to point out that I don't consider this a flaw for the original Star Wars. In fact, I think it adds a lot to the experience, since these are real pioneers and pushing the boundaries of special effects at the time. So there's the first version of an explanation of the thinness of the lightsaber blades in Star Wars Rebels. One, again recapping shortly, is that Ralph McQuarrie's concept art depicted very thin and sometimes short lightsaber blades. And the other being that sometimes in the original trilogy, especially in A New Hope, the thickness of the blades seemed to vary sometimes, depicting them sometimes as thin and other times as more thick. Now let's try and answer the question from more of a lore standpoint. I actually went back and noticed something in the recent Rebels mid-season trailer that I found exceptionally interesting about the lightsabers. This being that when Ahsoka and Ezra are looking at the hologram of Anakin Skywalker deflecting blaster bolts, his lightsaber appears to be normal thickness, not too thin, not too thick, which is really interesting considering the design choice for Rebels. My explanation could be that some of the lightsaber blades or crystals they have access to in Star Wars Rebels were not as thick as they were during the time of the Clone Wars from a lore standpoint. This would make sense, seeing as Kanan's lightsaber is never seen in Clone Wars or in any of the movies, and the only time we're introduced to it is in Rebels, and Ahsoka has completely new lightsabers. Disregarding the Anakin hologram, we only have one lightsaber in Star Wars Rebels that we have actually seen in the films, Darth Vader's, so let's go ahead and talk about his for a second. As I said earlier, in the original Star Wars movie, during his battle with Obi-Wan, sometimes his lightsaber appears to be more thin than other times, but this actually, in the Legends continuity, was explained. It was explained with after his duel with Obi-Wan on the first Death Star, he actually exchanged out his lightsaber crystal from a red synthetic crystal to a Kyber crystal. It was said that this crystal made the blade of the lightsaber more thick and gave it more of a crimson glow. This, however, is not considered canon after the recent overhaul by Disney. This does, however, mean that this could be implemented later on in Rebels. Darth Vader could end up switching out his original lightsaber crystal with a brand new Kyber crystal, which we could see resulting in the thickness of his blade changing to be more consistent to what it looked like in Empire Strikes Back. Anyway guys, I hope that helped explain away why the thinness of the lightsaber blades really is to the extreme that it is in Star Wars Rebels. Do I agree with the thinness of the lightsaber blades? Not necessarily, but on the other hand, it doesn't ruin the experience for me. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. May the Force be with you. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and have a great day.